All right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, it's another day in the APC-led Nigeria, and citizens are still faced with worse versions of the same problems that have tormented them for many years. The power tussle within the APC would not even allow them focus on trying to solve or at least reduce the pains of Nigerians. We have seen power tussle between the CBN governor and Tinubu's economic advisors, both teams giving conflicting opinions and suggestions on the same issue. CBN governor said palliatives weren't helping the economy. Economic advisors came out and said palliative sharing is the way to go. And we have seen power tussle between ministers, senators, down to the media aides and spokespersons. Ajuri Ngilali will make a declaration and Bayo Ononuga will ask the public to disregard it, and vice versa. But now the worst is happening. Reports coming out of Aso Rock suggest that there is crisis. Remember that during the campaigns, Shettima said the city boy, that is Tinubu, will handle the economy while I would handle security. And that statement clearly shows that he planned to play a very big part in this government because security is actually the number one duty of a government. And immediately Shettima made that statement, many Yoruba APC members began to complain. They said, hope Shettima is not planning to take over Tinubu's duties if they get into office. And the Cold War began since then. And as we speak, northern elders and influencers are gradually letting the cat out of the bag as to the crisis between Tinubu's team and Shettima's team in Aso Rock. Before I show you that report by a northern elder and influencer and how Nigerians reacted and even related the situation to that of Peter Obi, let me quickly show you this video.
I came across a post on X by a guy called Arinze Odira with the handle Captain Arinze. The post said, you pay a price every time you lower your standards. This applies to everything in life. And I felt it was a perfect foundation for today's monologue. The price Nigerians have paid and are still paying for reducing our standards with regards to those we have allowed to take over positions of leadership in the last decade and arguably more. Now, many will argue that the quality of leadership that has defined our nation's growth trajectory has reduced in the last decade, and the results are as clear as day. Just take a look at what we've done to ourselves and take a look at what we've done to our country with our electoral choices. Choices that we made not in consideration strictly on the quality of options, but on tribe and religion and bribery and turn-by-turn dirty politics. How has one of the greatest nations on earth found itself being led by the quality of people that we have allowed in those positions? Governmental institutions being headed by people whose only skill is how to win elections, and others nominated to repay political favors, not because they have the slightest qualifications worthy of those positions. And this is a country filled with some of the most brilliant minds on the continent. Nigerians excelling in different parts of the world. How can that same country then pick leaders who can speak brilliantly for 10 minutes unaided? How did that same country and citizens say things like, even if it's NEPA certificate, we will vote him? Many would say that we should be ashamed of ourselves because look at where NEPA certificate has brought Nigeria. I mean, what spirit really took over Nigerians to make such statements, including, of course, Victor Ekpeba there? A nation with some of the most brilliant people on earth. To have WAEC, if you remember, bring a certificate to our president in Aso Rock, and they took pictures with it as something to be proud of. Nigeria. The same Nigeria that has produced the likes of Wole Soyinka and Chinua Achebe, Akinwumi Adesina, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Chimamanda Adichie, Philip Emeagwali, Dora Akunyili, Seyi Oyeshola, many of them, many others. How did that same country produce leaders back to back that had questions about their certificates? Again, you pay a price every time you lower your standards, and Nigerians must improve on the quality of persons in leadership positions.
You heard that. That was Osaroge Ogbonwa of News Central speaking the truth to Nigerians there. The fact of the matter is the electoral manipulations that take place in Nigeria are all carried out by Nigerians, not necessarily politicians, just common Nigerians. People take as low as 50,000 naira, 30,000 naira to change a whole polling unit results. And where the results are not changed at the polling units, INEC returning officers collect 250,000 naira, 300,000 naira, and they TPEX the original results and write another. All these ones happen at the state level, even before results get to the biggest fraud, which is the INEC chairman. That is why the journalist is saying Nigerians brought Buhari and Tinubu upon themselves. And we have seen the results of our choices. It is foolishness to expect good governance from any career politician in this country. People who got all they have in their lives from politics and other dubious means cannot suddenly begin to think of how to do good when they get into office, especially when there are no consequences for doing bad. Nigerians and only Nigerians can get themselves out of this mess. Now, let us look at that update on Aso Rock as reported by Northern influencer Madi Shehu. He wrote, "Is Kashim being marginalized? He should have seen it coming. Rumored fillers from inside the villa is to the effect that the VP and his team are being marginalized, sidelined, and frustrated in the governance scheme. As both a merchant, an investment and commercial banker, I thought my younger brother Kashim had done a thorough and forensic risk analysis of his association with Tinubu, fully equipped with the story he must have learned about the behavior of a loose lion in the bush. I thought he had read the current operational constitution in Nigeria, particularly in relation to the enormous powers of a president, which made him next to God, politically speaking, and which reduced the VP's office and person to that of an unwanted errand and an appendix waiting to rupture and be removed. I thought he would have learnt lessons from the traumas and frustrations of Atiku, Jonathan, and Oshibajo. I thought he would have come to terms with the risk of having an ambitious Ribadu as the National Security Advisor and the risk of a Gbaja as Chief of Staff, who are both scheming for the two exalted chairs of the President and the Vice President. Kashim must prepare for some assaults, insults, intimidation, and relegations. His only saving grace is for Tinubu to pie in office, which is possible because it has happened before, or Tinubu becomes physically or mentally incapacitated, which is within the powers of God to make it happen, or Tinubu is made to resign or impeached, which is possible but very probable. My unsolicited pro bono advice for Kashim is to calm down, play safe, remain within his limits, learn to let go, remain prayerful, draw up survival plans B, C, D, E, F up to Z. With God, anything is possible." You heard that. Now, if you understand Northern politics, you will know that this information is true. And it came from a member of Shettima's team or even he himself to this Northern influencer. And personally, knowing the ambitions of former presidential candidate Nuhu Ribadu and Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, I knew there was going to be a lot of power tussle between Tinubu and Shettima's team in the villa. And of course, many Nigerians knew that a part of the North was expecting and is still expecting a repeat of the Yaradua-Jonathan fate, where Yaradua died in office and Jonathan took over, the same way some Southerners expected it to happen with Buhari and Oshibajo. But Nigerians had different kinds of reactions to this report, including relating the information to a Peter Obi vice presidential slot. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. And this tweet here by Stephen Ayantola says, "They have given him a very expensive and comfortable mansion in which to relax and watch CNN and drink kunun koko while big decisions are being made behind him. Quite frankly, I don't care for either one of these men. And if there is infighting, it is better for us. Let them expose all. That is the truth. I always say it. Anytime there is fight amongst APC members, I'm always very happy. This tweet here by Jonathan says, "This is the reason I will never support an Atiku as president and Obi as VP again, because the VP will always be marginalized in any administration and even have lesser power than chief of staff. VP's full potentials and leadership qualities will never be allowed to shine by cabals." But this is the honest truth. It is only in rare occasions that you can have a vice president coming out to really exert his power and his influence on the economy. That will only happen if the president allows it. And how are you sure that the president has good intentions? This is where there is a very big problem. And this tweet here says, "VPs never take center stage in any administration. How was Oshibanjo treated by Buhari and his team? Remember, when Northerners used to call Oshibanjo VP academic, he wasn't even allowed to attend security meetings. Remember how Tura Yaradua and her goons treated Jonathan." And Omega here says, "This is just the beginning. A lot will unfold." Definitely, definitely. They are just 1 year, 2 months in. A lot is going to unfold. And this tweet here by FG Studio says, "Chad Basin is close to him. He can dive inside. For what a man sows, he will reap." This one doesn't care. He said they should marginalize him however they want. It is not his business. And this tweet by Akobi Awolowo says, "Shettima and the North was fooled by Tinubu's sickness drama during campaign. The North fell for it and covered up for Tinubu even when they knew he didn't win. But their belief was that what happened during Yaradua should happen so Shettima can take over." And Solarin Bayo says, "Unfortunately, the sickness stuff was not a scam. The man is truly sick." Well, whether he is truly sick or not, I don't care. The bottom line is that there is heavy crisis in the administration, and further comments from Northerners even suggested that some members of Shettima's team were happy with the way Northerners protested and that we are not even close to seeing the last of protests yet in northern Nigeria. You know, when power becomes a thing that individuals use to satisfy their greed, this is how it plays out. All these men we are talking about are already billionaires. They can, touch any life they want to touch from now till the day of their deaths. Yet they are not satisfied. Only God knows what they are still looking for. It is safe to say that this level of greed is now a medical condition that needs to be diagnosed. I'm telling you. But the good news is there is heavy confusion within the APC, and we hope that this leads to a disintegration of that evil association so that Nigerians can rest. Because ever since these guys came in, we have not had a single day of rest. From one problem to another. All the problems we were facing before the APC became 10 times worse under them. And I don't see any way Nigerians can get out of this if they don't first get rid of the APC. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Na I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.